Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money with your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey, everybody. It's episode 133 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm Tom Antion, and I'll be your host like I am every day. Well, we're going to talk about ad tracking and split testing. This is the way smart marketers get rich. They track what's working and they eliminate what's not. And I'd also refer you to episode 127, where I talked about paid traffic. It ties in perfectly with this episode. And of course, this is one of my Monday in-depth trainings. Now, episode 132 was our last episode. Jacqueline Whitmore is a protocol and etiquette expert who helps people all over the world act right and be right in business and personal situations. She gave some great insights on preparing for events you're invited to. Now, I've got a big freebie to thank you for listening to the podcast. It's my $27 ebook, How to Automate Your Business. And just one of the tips in this book has saved me over 7 million keystrokes. And I just might have another little gift over there for you. So check it out at screwthecommute.com/automate free. Screwthecommute.com/automate free. And our podcast app is now in the iTunes store. You can go to screwthecommute.com/app, where we have complete instructions to show you how to use all the fancy features so you can take us with you on the road, on your cell phone and your tablet. And do us a favor. Please pick somebody that you know that's interested in business and get them to subscribe to this. They'll thank you for it. This podcast is really going to help them out. All right, our sponsor is the Great Internet Marketing Retreat and Joint Venture Program, where myself and my staff work with you for a year to either get you started in an internet business or to use the internet to take your existing business to the next level. Now, you can check all of that out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com, greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. And like all the links we talk about and the things we talk about, they'll be in the show notes for this episode, which is 133. Now, I do want to tell you about how I turned the internet marketing training world on its head around the year 2000. I mean, people at my level were charging like $50,000 or $100,000 up front to teach what we knew to clueless business people who refused to learn it on their own. Now, I'm a small business advocate, and I knew many small businesses could never afford that kind of upfront money. So I made all those gurus mad by charging a relatively small entry fee to my program that also got a percentage of profits that was capped, so you would not be stuck with me forever. So for me to get my big money, you had to make way bigger money. Well, people really loved this and flocked to the program, and those other guys are mad, but here, almost 20 years later, it's still going strong with no lawsuits and no chargebacks to the credit card and no complaints and all that. So we're helping a lot of people. And, you know, I'm not going to disappear on you and not keep helping you, because I won't get my big money if you don't get your big money. So that's how we roll around here. And also, I went one step further. All right, listen to this. I have this big estate home, and you have an immersion weekend as part of your year-long training program here, where you actually live in the house with me. So very, very cool. Check it out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. All right, let's get to the main event, ad tracking and split testing. Now, I'll tell you right up front, this is how people get rich. Now, let me ask you a simple, dumb question. If 100 people visited your website, would you rather have 10 of them buy your product or only 5 of them buy it? All right, and this is not a trick question. If you picked 5, all right, you shouldn't be allowed to leave your house with your credit card, right? Because you're not very good at making financial decisions. Now, let me ask you another question. If you put in 10 ads out on the internet in all the places I told you about in episode 127, which was about paid traffic, You put in 10 ads and only one of those was bringing in paying customers. Wouldn't you want to know which ad it was? All right. Again, it's a pretty obvious answer, right? Well, today's episode is about ad tracking and split testing. And it's going to teach you how to get those exact answers so you can maximize the sales from everything you do and minimize the losses from ads and promotions that aren't working. Now, we're going to talk about ad tracking first, and then we'll get into split testing later, although I'll give you basic definitions of each right now. Ad tracking is getting exact numbers of how many people came from an exact ad and how many people did what you wanted them to do. Split testing is also known as A/B testing, is comparing the performance of one promotion or promotional element against another to see which one is best. Those definitions will gel for you a little bit more when I get into the details. All right, let's get to ad tracking. One of the biggest mistakes people make when advertising online is they get all excited about the different places they can advertise, and they jump in and put a bunch of ads out, and then they sit back and wait for all the sales to pour in. Well, most people that do this are woefully disappointed in the number of sales or opt-ins or webinar registrations or whatever they were promoting that came in as compared to the amount of money they spent. Advertising in multiple places when you're first starting out in paid ads is a bad idea from the get-go, all right? Because getting to know each ad platform takes some time. But worse than that, when you have ads spread out all over the place without proper tracking mechanisms in place, you've got no idea which ads are bringing you good quality leads or customers and which ads aren't bringing you anything of value. Now, this is where ad tracking comes in. When you have ad tracking software or an ad tracking service, you can put a special link on every single ad you put out. When someone clicks on your ad, they are tracked. Well, you might say, but Tom, the place I'm advertising tells me how many clicks I had because that's how they charge me on a pay-per-click basis. All right, well, first of all, you aren't always charged on a pay-per-click basis. There are other ways, but I mean, that's not what we're talking about here. And yes, the place where you're advertising counts the clicks and charges you. But first, it's a good idea to have a way to check up on them to make sure the number of clicks is accurate. What if they have some kind of bot, either their own or something attacks their system, that clicks over and over again to run your bill up? But nobody actually visits your website. How would you know? I guess you could dig into your analytics and hope that your landing page was tracked in real time, and multiply this by multiple ads and landing pages in your site. Good luck trying to keep track of all those things. And even if you could do a good job of keeping track of multiple ads and landing pages, you'd have to be one heck of an organized person to keep track of which ads were bringing you customers and which were bringing you tire kickers. So we step up to ad trackers. When you put a specific ad tracking link on every ad you place, all of these problems are erased, and you have one simple place to go to see exactly what's happening with each ad you place. So you can kill the losers and keep the winners. And like I said in episode 127 about paid traffic, you want to fail fast so you don't keep running ads that aren't paying off for you. Not only can you keep the ad service honest about charging you for fake clicks, in other words, if they charge you for 1,000 clicks and you only had 10 landing page visits, hey, something's wrong. Either they are fraudulent or there's a serious flaw in their billing system. You can present them with the evidence of only 10 visits and demand a refund or quit them altogether as frauds. Really, most ad places aren't fraudulent. And other than minor discrepancies in numbers of clicks, you probably won't have any trouble with fraud. But it's better to verify your bill and keep them honest, and ad trackers allow you to do this. But let me tell you, further than that, the problem with relying on number of clicks is that most services have no way to gauge the quality of that click for you. Most of them don't know if the person they sent you spent money with you or opted in or registered for your seminar or webinar or whatever. And quite frankly, it's not their problem. They sent you the person, and it's your problem to convert them to whatever you want them to do. You have to take responsibility to convert them, and if you find that traffic from a specific source doesn't convert well no matter what you do, you got to cut off that ad source and quit wasting money with them. Ad trackers specifically tell you not only how many people clicked from a certain ad, but it follows the person that clicked to see if they did what you wanted them to do. All you have to do is pull up a report and see the ad source, the number of clicks, the number of opt-ins, the amount of money people spent that came from that specific ad. Then when you have those hard figures in front of you, it makes it easy to see which ads are worth keeping and which you should dump. Now, there is an exception when you might not need an ad tracker. And that's when a service has something called conversion tracking. That's where their service counts how many people actually got your thank you page. And the only people that would get the thank you page are the people that did what you wanted them to do. Now, I still prefer to have my own trackers to verify what's going on. Now, another cool thing that ad trackers can do is track ads and promotions and links on your own site. One thing I like to do on more expensive products is to use a command and a benefit in a text link when people are thinking about buying the product. For instance, for my Wake 'em Up video professional speaking system, I might have several links with a command and a benefit in them. So here's some examples. Click here to get standing ovations around the world. Well, the click here is the command, and the part about getting standing ovations is the big benefit of having that system. Another would be, click here to have them rolling in the aisles. Again, the click here is the command, and the rolling in the aisles is the big benefit to those that want to be more entertaining on stage. If I wanted to see which of those links got more clicks and buyers, notice I didn't just say more clicks, because I want the link that brings in more buyers, not just more clicks. Anyway, I'd put a separate tracking link on each one, and I'd get exact figures on which link brought me the most buyers. All right, here's another cool usage of tracking links. Maybe I want to track which location on my website brought in the most buyers. In that case, I'd take one of those click here links and place it on different pages of my site. And sometimes it would be at the top of the page, and sometimes at the bottom, and sometimes in the middle of a blog post. And I'd put separate tracking links on each one. That would tell me where on my site the most buyers are coming from, so I could do more of whatever I was doing in the future to bring in even more buyers. So ad trackers can do amazing things for you in your business by saving you money, because you can quit losing ads immediately, and making you money by telling you the ads that are making you money, so you can increase them. Plus, all the cool stuff you can do on your own site to tell what areas of your site are the most profitable. Now, you've heard me push heavily my shopping cart system, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, kickstartcart.com. And this is just another reason a complete shopping cart system is valuable. Your ad tracking module is already included in kickstartcart.com. You don't pay extra. You don't have any complicated installation of third-party software to do all this tracking. It just works right off the bat. So get your free trial at kickstartcart.com. Plus, when you get the cart, we give you unlimited free one-on-one tutoring to get you set up and running and ongoing help whenever you need it. Shopping cart systems were covered in episode 10 to show you all the powerful things they do. So check that out later when you're really ready to get a shopping cart, which should be sooner rather than later because it does all these things, including your broadcast email and affiliate program and everything. Okay, now let's get into split testing or A/B testing. Now, people argue about the exact definition or whether split testing and A/B testing are totally separate issues, but I don't really care about that. Basically, you are either comparing two big concepts against one another, or you are testing individual elements in a sales letter, like which headline is best and which price is best and all that stuff. Now, I only test one thing at a time. Like I might test which guarantee is better. I mean, you can test a bunch of stuff at once, which is called multivariate testing. But I can assure you, I'm not smart enough to keep track of tons of different variables at once, and I don't really know anyone in the internet marketing field who tests more than one thing at a time. Now, all of this testing is designed to increase your conversion rate. Now, if you're not familiar with that term, it's basically the ratio of the number of people who do what you want them to do to the number of people who had a chance to do what you wanted them to do. For instance, if 100 people saw your sales letter and 3 people bought, that would be 3 divided by 100 is the 3% conversion ratio. And just to keep using round numbers, if 100 people saw your opt-in form and 15 people opted in, that would be a 15% conversion ratio. Split testing is the method you use to increase those numbers. So if you can make a change to your sales letter that would take your conversion rate from 3% to 5%, I'm sure you would do it. Split testing tells you when you change something on your sales letter or your opt-in form, did it increase or decrease the conversion rate? If it increases your conversion rate, you keep that change. If it decreases the conversion rate, you get rid of that change and you try something else. So when you try everything you can and you no longer can get an increase in your conversion rate, you've maxed out that sales letter or opt-in form or whatever it is, and you can feel pretty confident that you're doing the best you can do with that promotion. And just to give you some crazy perspective, one of the guys who taught me this had a sales letter, and when he got done with all the split testing, the final version sold 19 times as many of his product as the original letter. So this work and testing can really make you lots of extra money. So what are things you can test? Well, the first thing you might want to test are some entirely big concepts. Maybe you want to see if a video sales letter, or that's sometimes called VSL, works better for your promotion than a written sales letter. Then maybe you want to test if a hybrid sales letter, that's with a video at the top and text underneath, works better than just a video or just text. Maybe you want to test a written sales letter. Let's say it was about making money, but one sales letter totally emphasized security for your family, and another one totally emphasized living a more luxurious life. You could test to see which concept had a bigger appeal for your audience and that particular offering. Now, this brings up a good point. You don't just do this once. You do testing on every important project because every deal is different, and no matter how experienced you think you are, you simply can't predict with any degree of accuracy how people will react to different offers. That's why smart and rich marketers continue to split test. Okay, so let's say you've done your big concept split testing and you want to start improving your conversion rate, let's say on a sales letter. Now, I'm going to rattle off a ton of things you could test. And yes, it's a long list. Rewind if you want to jot it down, or just go get a copy of the show notes for this episode. So here we go. Pre-headlines, headlines, price, guarantee, colors, testimonials, placement of testimonials, drop shadows, you can even test, fonts, page layout, short versus long letters, video versus text, calls to action, location of calls to action, pop-ups, images, video or no video, length of video, controls on the video or not, autoplay or not. You getting the idea here, folks? Testimonials, location of testimonial. Oh, I said that one already. The style of testimonial, price. Is it obvious or is it hidden? Is there navigation buttons on the page or not? Are there margin notes written by hand? Are there scare tactics? Are there different ways to buy? Is there a PayPal credit notice there? I mean, you see how many things could affect your sales? And hey, this is by no means a full list. I'm just getting sick of rattling them off. This is, again, why you need good tools. See, so let me get on my high horse about tools again. You can somewhat do this without tools if you want to cause yourself enormous amounts of grief and inaccuracy so that you make lousy decisions. And here's how you would do it. I call it, this is how you would do it without proper tools. I call it the poor man's or poor women's split testing. All right, so the poor man's split testing means you haven't invested in the software. So you're going to do kind of a half-baked, and I just said half-baked instead of half something else, so I don't have to mark this episode as explicit for foul language. But I really mean half that other word, because I just get annoyed when people want all these riches, but they won't invest in the tools to make it happen. They think the riches are just going to fall out of the air or something. I don't know. I mean, it's like a carpenter who decides, you know what, after I get a bunch of jobs and do them, I'll buy a hammer. or an airline pilot says, after I get a lot of flights in, I'll go get my license. I mean, it's that stupid to me. All right. But anyway, I don't know anybody or virtually anybody like that, unless they got lucky, becomes successful with online marketing. These tools are so cheap as compared to any kind of other business you could start. All right, so I'll get off my high horse again. But back to the poor man's split testing. I mean, that means that you try sales letter A. So let's say you had two sales letters, A and B, for, say, 100 visitors. Then after you get your 100 visitors, you switch to sales letter B and wait till you get 100 visitors. Then you compare which sales letters got you the most sales, or opt-ins, or registrations, or webinars, or whatever you were trying to accomplish. Well, the flaw in this is that your visitors did not come during the same time period. So let's say you put out your first sales letter, the sales letter A, out on a Monday, and it took 3 days to get your 100 visitors. And then let's say you got 3 sales from that sales letter. Then on Thursday, you took down sales letter A and you put up sales letter B. And you let it go for 100 visitors, and you got only 1 sale. The first sales letter was better, right? 3 sales to 1 is a clear winner, right? Wrong. All right. Your first sales letter was released at the start of the week, and the second one was released as people were getting ready for the weekend. I mean, that's bad enough, but let me give you an example of one of my butt camps I just did. For those of you that don't know, butt camp is one of the longest running ever internet marketing seminars. I named it because I was sitting on my rear end making so much money. All right. So it caught on, and I've done them in 11 countries. So anyway, I planned a butt camp on a Saturday in Virginia Beach. We videotaped the entire day, so I didn't really care too much how many people attended in person, because we sell the videos all around the world. but we usually have 20 or 30 people at the live event. So a couple of weeks prior to Butt Camp, people started letting me know they wanted the videos because they couldn't get a room in Virginia Beach to come in for the event. And as I looked into it, there was a massive oceanfront festival, and all the rooms were taken for 30 miles around Virginia Beach. So why am I telling you this? Well, let's get back to the poor man's split testing. It was bad enough you tested your second letter heading into a weekend. But what if there was a major event that affected your target market that weekend and you didn't know about it? Maybe you would have sold 0 from that second sales letter and you would have discarded it as a loser and kept the other sales letter. All right, so what are the potential ramifications of this mistake you just made? Let's say you switched the letters and the second sales letter that you were going to throw away had been the one released on Monday instead of Thursday. What if it sold 8 of whatever you were selling just because it was released at a better time? If you had made the decision of which sales letter was better based on the first test, you would have thrown away the best sales letter and kept the worst one. All right, call me crazy, but those kinds of decisions aren't going to keep you in business very long. You need to get the tools necessary to do this correctly. And you'll make lots more money with less hassle trying to keep track of things by just getting and using the right tools. All right, so how do the tools work? Well, a split testing tool, just like the ad tracker, generates a specific link for you. Only this link is a little bit different. Each visitor that clicks on this link is sent to a different place. Not each visitor, but it alternates them. So let's say you have 2 sales letters, and we call them sales letter A and sales letter B. The first person that clicks on the link goes to sales letter A, and the second person that clicks on the link goes to sales letter B. The third person that clicks on the link goes back to sales letter A, and the link keeps alternating each person that clicks so that when you're done, half the people that clicked saw sales letter A and half saw sales letter B. Each person that clicked is tracked to see if they eventually do what you want them to do, like purchase something or opt into your email list or register for a webinar or whatever your end goal was. You'll get a clear set of numbers telling you how many people visited each sales letter and how many did what you wanted them to do. And the test took place during the exact same time period for each sales letter, so you don't have to worry or have any errors like I talked about with the sales letters being released at different times. You'll get exact and valid numbers of which sales letter won the test. And if the test was close, you might want to wait to make your decision on which sales letter was better until you send lots more people to each one. So let's say one was the clear winner, though. Now you start testing individual elements of that sales letter, like the laundry list of elements I rattled off earlier. Some of the ones I like to check first is the headline. If your headline doesn't grab people to get them to look at the rest of the letter, nothing else much matters. Price is an important test. We always test low to high, because if someone buys at a low price and hears later the price went up, well, they're all happy that they got it cheap. But if someone buys high and then hears the price just went down, they're all mad about it. So in general, test low to high. And another thing, since this is a basic intro to ad tracking and split testing, I'm not going to go too deep, but the sales letter that brings you the most buyers may not be the best sales letter for you for your overall goal. Maybe a sales letter that brings in less buyers on the front end, or I really mean buyers or subscribers or whatever, but let's say it brings in less people, but they are people who spend way more money over time. So even though on the front end you got less, you got way more in the long run. That's called the lifetime value of a customer. But don't let that throw you. Learn to do these basics first, and then you can keep track over longer time periods and make decisions on the front end based on more data about your customers that you gain over time. All right, let's talk about buying traffic. So lots of people ask me, what are they supposed to do if they don't even have enough traffic to test their sales letters? In that case, you need to learn what I covered in episode 127 about paid traffic. You put in ads to drive traffic to your sales letters, and you shut them off or pause them when you get enough results to make a good decision of which sales letter won. Now, if your numbers are too small, your test won't be valid. And lots of people ask me how much traffic or how many people they have to send to a sales letter to have a valid test. Well, that gets a little too deep to talk about here, but as a rule of thumb, you can use this one. Count how many visitors it takes to get 10 actions of whatever you wanted them to do, like buy the product or opt in or whatever. Let's say sales letter A took 160 visitors to get them to buy 10 copies of your $27 ebook. Well, 10 divided by 160 was a 6.25% conversion rate. Now, let's say from sales letter B, it took 195 visitors to sell 10 copies of your $27 ebook. Well, 10 divided by 195 is 5.12% conversion rate. So sales letter A won by a little over 1%. Now, I personally don't think I'd make a decision yet. I'd let the test run till it hit 20 or 30 sales or more, or until I saw a clear-cut winner. And then I'd stop the one sales letter, and then I'd keep testing elements of the other sales letter. I'm sure just on face value, you can see this whole process is a pain in the neck. But try it without tools, and you'll be pulling your hair out. Or you won't do it at all, and then you won't get rich. That's simple as that. Okay, so here's some miscellaneous tips before I send you on your way towards good ad tracking and split testing. First thing is odd times of year can throw off the test. I don't think it would be a great time to test, and of course this would depend on your product, but around Valentine's Day or Easter or Memorial Day or Labor Day. And you see what I mean? I mean, people's minds are consumed with other things. Yes, you could do a test that included those periods as long as the test ran long enough before the holiday or time of year and long enough after. Another tip is sometimes you don't have a chance to test something. Sometimes it's a one-shot deal. Now, this is basically a copywriting tip. When I only have one shot at something, I always make the headline and subheadings fire engine red color. And of course, I want you to accelerate your success by getting a membership to copywriting901.com. That's all about copywriting. It's called the Fast Track to Writing Words That Sell. And this is the most important skill I've gained in over 42 years of formal business, and really since I was writing flyers to sell stuff when I was 10 years old. But I might only have a one-shot deal maybe on a year-end clearance sale or something, so I can't run a year-end clearance sale all year long. So I just get one shot at it. So I do the best I can, but I make the subheadings and main heading fire engine red. All right, here's another tip. When you have these tools, you can split test all kinds of stuff. Landing pages, email subject lines, email body copy, sign-up forms, potential titles of books, if you can't decide which the title should be, pictures, and just about anything where you don't really know which one is the winner. And finally, as soon as you think you know something is the best, the internet smacks you in the face and says, no, you don't. I can't tell you how many times I've been surprised on the results of a test when I had in my mind that there was a clear winner. Right? But I went ahead with the test anyway. And my clear winner was a clear loser. So don't get cocky about this, claiming you know exactly what your people need and want. Test it anyway. I call it part of my CSI theory, and that's not the TV show Crime Scene Investigation. It's CSI to me stands for crappy, stupid idea. and every idea is crappy and stupid, including my own, until I can prove it isn't with real numbers. And that's what ad tracking and split testing will help you do. So go get your free trial of kickstartcart.com so you have all the tools necessary to do what I talked about here, and you'll be doing things just like other savvy and rich marketers do. All right. So if you want somebody to hold your hand through this and all the other things you need to know to be successful online, check out my mentor program. It's the longest running, most successful, and most unique. And one thing I didn't tell you, it includes a scholarship to my licensed internet marketing school that you can either use yourself or gift to someone else. So check out all this stuff in the show notes. This is episode, what the heck is it? I think it's, let me check. 133, that's what it is. So check out episode 133, and you'll find all the links to everything. And listen to this several times or read the show notes carefully, because this episode combined with episode 127 and copywriting901.com can make you very, very rich.